Hello, my name is Joel Z. Williams. I'm the Director of Products for Peaceful Operations. Today I want to talk to you about a report that's coming out of TMZ. TMZ, or 30 Mile Zone, Harvey Levin and them are reporting that the former Los Angeles Lakers, or actually Los Angeles Clippers owner, is now being sued. There's a tenant that is, I think he stays at an apartment complex called the Reno Country Club Apartments, and they're owned by a company, I think it's called Beverly Hills Property, that is owned by Donald Sterling. And the complaint says, the actual plaintiff in this case says that he's an African American man, says that he developed bed bugs in this dwelling and made Donald Sterling's property managers aware of the problem, and they hit him immediately with a 10-day do something about it or get out. You're causing a health or health issue for the rest of our tenants. And the attorney that is representing this man is saying that they're suing under civil rights discrimination. California specifically, they have a bill called the UNRRA Act, named for the former Speaker of the House there, Jesse UNRRA. But it's a 1959 bill that specifically prohibits discrimination in establishments. So back in the 50s, during the civil rights era, African Americans weren't allowed to rent hotel, stay in a hotel or eat at certain restaurants or go to barber shops, and the UNRRA Act specifically prohibits that. Okay, so backing up to the plaintiff's claim, what he's saying is that when he made them aware of it, they initially were going to send out, or they did send out pest control exterminators, but they specifically did not go to his apartment. And apparently the plaintiff is alleging, and again, this is a claim, this has not been tried, there's no decision, so this is all allegation until there is a civil decision, but there has not been a decision made in this case. So I want to be clear on that this is one party is making these claims that have not been substantiated yet. But in his allegations, what he's saying is that he videotaped the exterminators purposely not going to his apartment, and he claims that he offered them money and to come in and spray his apartment, but they were told not to go to his apartment, and they sprayed the apartments in the vicinity, in the surrounding apartments. So he's suing on civil rights grounds and of course that UNRRA Act. And the interesting thing to know here is that Donald Sterling has a history. He paid a settlement I want to say it was about 10 years ago, of being a slumlord. He is known as keeping a pretty tight rein on not fixing things. He doesn't do well with fixing up his properties, and was sued. Apparently didn't get a decision, but he settled out of court and was sued on civil rights issues. So he has some exposure here, meaning a prior case where there was sufficient evidence that he was engaging in discriminatory practices. It's very likely that that's going to be brought up in court, and I estimate that this case will be settled. But the point that I'm trying to make, if you have a landlord who is willfully discriminating against you, or certainly not providing you the treatment that you think you need, but giving it to others in your dwelling, or specifically singling you out, not only do you have, and many times, a habitability claim, but you may also have a civil rights claim or a discrimination claim. And this is for any protected class, including people who are disabled, elderly. You may have a legitimate claim. So what I suggest is that if you have three options when you discover bed bugs in your apartment, right? And this is for anyone. You have three options available to you. You can stay silent, use my methods, and use the bedbug trap and lure and some plastic sheeting and rid yourself of the problem yourself. You can go public. You can sue the landlord for that and attempt to get your money back, or you can leave. You can just jet out, break your lease, and say, "The hell with it! I'm going to go somewhere else." If you make your claim known to the landlord, many times, I'm not going to say most, I will say there are some landlords who will act respectfully and what I consider to be honorably, and they'll say, "Okay, we'll come out and spray, but we're going to spray this one time. If it happens again, you have to pay for half of it," or something like that. That is what I would consider to be a reasonable response, right? That is probably only 10% of landlords are going to give you that option. Most of them are going to serve you with papers saying, "You need to do something about that problem in your apartment, or we're going to move for eviction in 10 days. And that's that's the double side of the sword of notifying your landlord. If you make it public, if you put them on notice that there's bed bugs there, they have I wouldn't say right, but they have the option to retaliate against you. Now, usually what happens is when people get that notice on their door and they got 10 days to do something about it, generally people do something about it. They don't want to get sued or evicted, right? What I tell people is, if you've been living there for 7 years, you've never had bed bugs, you haven't brought any new furniture in, but the people next to you have bed bugs, and all of a sudden you develop bed bugs, I tell people, fight that case. Fight that case. Make them prove that you brought the bed bugs in there. And most jurisdictions, what will happen is judges will look at the track history. And during, if you go to small claims court, you will be able to ask them on the record, did anyone else in that apartment complex have problems with bed bugs? And I'm telling you, once a judge hears that there has been a history of bed bugs in apartments that are near you, I mean, seriously, the landlord's credibility is going to be shot. So what I tell people is, you got 3 options. You either stay and fight quietly, you stay and fight publicly, where you can be sued and or evicted, or you break your lease, you run out, and you risk the danger of them suing you for what is known in legal terms as waste. For example, if you took a 6-month lease and you've only been there for 1 month, the landlord is legally entitled to sue you for the rest of that lease, the remainder of the money that you would have stayed there, that he supposedly lost out on because he couldn't rent it to anyone else. You know, and I know that he's going to turn right around and rent that apartment out. But for legal purposes, if you skip out on a 6-month lease and you've only been there, you're on the hook for the rest of the 5 months. So that happens. A lot of times the landlord will sue you for that waste and seize your deposit as well. So there's 3 options available to you, and I'd like you to consider your options wisely. You know, don't suffer in silence if you don't have to. If you don't have the funds and you are really scared that you're going to get evicted, then use the Williams method, the mattress encasement, and the bed bug trap. I think you can defeat most early infestations. I think you can. But if you have a terrible infestation, or you're exceptionally vulnerable to the bites, maybe you develop hives or something like that, then you consider the other 2. But I just want you to be aware that there are civil claims that you can make if you're being discriminated against, or if the landlord is attempting to use the bed bugs to retaliate against you. If you have an intent to remain in that dwelling, they can't get you. So thank you. My name is Joel Z. Williams. People call me the Poor People's Advocate. You will recognize me by my white hat, but you will know me by my virtuous ways. Thank you.